Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mundane Matt, and this is my first story time video because you don't care, but I'm going to tell you anyway because this channel is kind of like my vlog channel, hence why it's called Mundane Chats, and I haven't really told you guys any of the older stories from my life. I do the mundane life whenever I remember to do it or interesting things happen. Lately, life hasn't been super interesting, so if you're wondering why, that's why. But anyway, if you go and you look at my Twitter profile, you will see in the bio it says former gubernatorial candidate, state of California, 2003. That's not bullshit. That is not a lie. That is not made up for comedic effect. It's absolutely true. I ran for governor of California when I was 21 years old. Now, way back in 2003, or would it be like 2003? I don't even know what you'd want to call it, but way back in 2003, so almost 14 years ago, California was in a bit of a mess when it comes to its governor. Way less of a mess than it is right now, but you had Governor Gray Davis, okay, and he was being recalled. I don't even really remember why he was being recalled, but there was this big hubbubaloo about who's going to take over the governor, who's going to be the new governor, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger had decided to step on up, Mary Carey, the porn star. I believe Gary Coleman decided to run, Larry Flint from Hustler magazine decided to run. I mean, there were like 316 candidates on the ballot for governor that particular year. But Rock 105.3, which is the rock station in San Diego, decided it wanted to do something a little bit different. It wanted to find the most degenerate candidate it could find and run them for the office of governor of California. And yes, that was me, the most degenerate candidate they could find. And so it started off, and they wanted you to go to the website, submit a bio about yourself, but they wanted you to answer two key questions. One was, what three things would you change about the state of California? And, what three laws would you put into effect? And what would you change about the state of California? So they just wanted those two things. So I said, for the three things I would change, or three new laws, would be cheaper beer, better music, bigger tits. I was 21 at the time. Right. And what I would change is I would have the Pledge of Allegiance change to Dennis Leary's theme song, Asshole, and then dare the world to try to fuck with us again. This also is 2 years post 9/11, so there's a lot of that going on, right? And I lived in San Diego, which is a military town, so I thought that might go over well with the constituents who might be voting in the online polls. Now, what happened next was really funny because what you had were hundreds and hundreds of people that were looking to get in on this because they were told by the DJs promoting it that you would be getting paid appearances, that limousines would take you everywhere. They really wanted to make it this big deal. And so everyone up there wanted to come up with the best new things they could do to California. And it pretty much, I'm not even lying when I say this, it was like 90% all the same shit. It was like legalize weed, legalize prostitution. The legalized weed definitely more than legalized prostitution. It's pretty funny, that 14 years later, that happened. I guess it was only a matter of time, really. But that was pretty much it. Most everyone just had the same fucking answer. But mine were a little bit different. But then came the voting process. Now, the way the voting process worked originally is that you just sent out the link and your friends would vote, and then they could vote again and vote again and vote again. Basically, they could do what Trump is claiming happened this election cycle. And so I had a friend of mine, my buddy Marcus, who would do that. He would vote and vote and vote and shit when he got off work for me, help me get up in the numbers. We were cheating worse than the hanging Chad in Florida. And so during that first leg of the online competition, Marcus was helping me out. But then the radio station got kind of caught wise to what was happening. And so they changed it. They added a cookie. So if you voted, then, they would put a cookie on your computer and it would say that you couldn't vote again. So Marcus realized all you have to do is just vote, click submit, go to your cookie folder, it will refresh, delete that, refresh the page, vote again. And I'm not lying when I say this. Marcus is one of my all-time best friends. I fucking love this dude to death. This dude spent hours, fucking hours, getting me up there in the polls. I'm not even kidding you. Like, I didn't know how much time he spent doing this until it was all said and done. And then finally, I think Rock 1053 caught wind that people were doing that because I kept noticing the same IP addresses coming in. And so then they finally changed it to the last part of this. And the last part of this was you had to be a rock1053.com member, like an eCult member. Because, you know, back in the early 2000s, mailing lists were all the thing, were all the rage. And so you had to do that. Right. And so then Marcus was like, all right, man, I tried, but I can only create so many fucking email accounts. I'm like, yeah, I know. I appreciate it. Right. Not thinking I was going to win. All right. Week goes by. Don't hear much about anything. Then all of a sudden I get a phone call around 1 p.m. in the afternoon. And it's the radio station. Right. It's a guy from the radio station. He's like, is this Matt Jarbo? And I said, yes. And he goes like, hi, I'm from Rock 1053. I just want to let you know that you are currently, you won the contest. You are our rock governor of San Diego. And that's what they were calling it. And so he's like, we're going to call you in a couple hours, put you on an interview with, you know, BC and Missy. That was a radio show at the time. And we're going to do all that. And I'm like, oh, wow. Oh my God. Like this is crazy. I'm 21 years old. I'm running for governor of California. Like, what the fuck? Right? So BC and Missy call me up. I talked to them for a couple minutes. You know, I don't really know what to say. This is before I was like more comfortable talking to people, you know, in that particular setting. But they wanted to go through the process. They had promised to campaign me for governor. Right. And so then the work began. And this wasn't like a simple fucking like thing. They legitimately took me through the process of running for governor of California. So I actually had to go down to the registrar's office, finally actually register to vote because I hadn't done it, then go and, you know, sign all the paperwork. And so myself and my handler, we went down there and we ended up just, you know, like going through the process. I registered as a Democrat and then I had to go get signatures. Now I needed 6,500 signatures to even be considered a valid write-in candidate, right? So they decided, okay, great. Well, this is football season. Chargers are playing, right? What we're going to do is we're going to tailgate you. We're going to take you down to Qualcomm Stadium. We're going to put you at a Rock 1053 booth and you are going to campaign for fucking signatures. And I'm like, yeah, like, okay, cool. At the time I was really wondering, I'm like, what's up, you know, with everything, like what's up with like these paid appearances, what's happening with that, right? And every time I kind of mentioned it, they would just kind of shy away from it, right? Because apparently if the DJ says it, then they got to legally do it. The DJ said it. BC said it a lot. They never actually did it. But I never held them to the fire over it. Why? Because when they called me to tell me that I had won, they also told me that they were sending me to Las Vegas, myself and a friend, for 23 hours to Las Vegas to stay at the Mandalay Bay Hotel and to get pay-per-view tickets to the UFC event that night, right? So myself, 21 years old, free fucking trip to Vegas, free night in the Mandalay Bay Hotel and UFC. Oh, hell yeah. So guess who I took with me? Oh, I took fucking Marcus, because that motherfucker earned that shit. He did. He totally fucking earned that shit. So him and I go to Vegas, right? Quick side story, because this is story time. So we fly out to Vegas. Both of us had never been. I was 21. He was 22. We get to our hotel. I didn't really think about the dress code of Vegas because, quite frankly, when I went there, my entire intention was to get drunk and hopefully get laid. That was what I was hoping for. No, that didn't really happen. But we did get really drunk. We went to the UFC event. And you know, we get there and they were doing the warm up fights. I think Tito Ortiz was fighting that night. I think he won actually. And so we get there and it's all like, they gave us seats that were literally against the wall, like against the wall of the Mandalay Bay arena or whatever. So it's like my head went back and hit the concrete. The view was but I didn't really like where I was sitting. And while we're kind of getting hyped up for it, you know, they're doing the lead-ins, right? They're doing the announcement of the fighters. And it goes like, this dude knows Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Now, I don't know anything about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I just know that it sounds cool. So I thought, like, oh, that fucker, dude, he fucking knows Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And then they bring out the other guy, and the other guy is proficient in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm like, oh, damn, dude, that guy knows Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. They're going to fuck each other up. right? Keep in mind, I never watched a fucking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fight. Never. This is way before YouTube. I didn't have UFC. None of that shit. I didn't even know what the fuck to look for. I thought they were going to beat the shit out of each other. From a distance, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu just looks like two half-naked men dry humping for 20 minutes. It really wasn't that appealing to me, given the fact that I was 21 years old in Vegas for the first time, only get one night, and I want to get drunk and also get laid. My mind was very laser focused that night, so we bailed out. We took off. We fucked off. Decided to hit the strip, because keep in mind, Mandalay Bay is at the I think the bottom of the strip. So we start walking up, right? Weave our way through. I'm getting matchbooks from every place because my friend had asked me to. We're getting free drinks if I'm playing $1 at a slot machine, because that's how you do it in Vegas, right? We're walking by all of the people giving out the free cards for hookers, and I'm just like grabbing them. I'm thumbing through going like, do I want to do this? Probably not, because I was working minimum wage at the theater, which at the time was $6.75 an hour. On a minimum wage salary, you can't really afford a hooker in Las Vegas. Let's just be fair. You can't afford a hooker. No matter how much you want to, you can't afford a hooker in Vegas. Anyway, so we end up making it all the way up to Caesar's Palace, right? At this point in time, it's getting a little bit later. We don't have that much time left. I look at Marcus, I'm like, dude, strippers. Let's go to strippers. Okay, now in San Diego, I happen to be friends with the dude who ran the Little Darlings Club. There's a Little Darlings Club in Vegas. So I kind of know what I'm in for. We end up bombing over to the Little Darlings Club and hanging out there and doing that for a few hours, right? And so I'm not going to... The night was uneventful. Let's just be fair. Like, I met some nice ladies. I was like, I'm a gubernatorial candidate, California. They sent me out here and everything, right? And I do that. I tried. It failed miserably. But because we were in a hurry the next day, I threw on my shorts when I woke up a couple hours before getting out to the airport. Didn't pop on underwear. Don't know why. I was 21. It was stupid of me to do. But the shorts I had on were like really, really, really bulky, right? They're really bulky. So we only got like maybe an hour, 2 hours of sleep, get back to the airport, pass out on the plane, fly back to San Diego. And when we land, we're waiting for my mom to come get us. And there's like these pillars with these kind of like, sliding edges. And so I just kind of like rest my back and I scoot down and I put my legs up. And as I'm kind of hungover still groggy as shit, I start feeling a light breeze in my genital region. And I realize I'm not wearing underwear. And I'm now exposing myself to anyone who's walking by. And keep in mind, I look up and I see an elderly couple, mouth agape, staring at my junk. And I'm just like, oh, God damn it. All right, fine. That's the end of this trip. Went and got a burrito, went home, slept it off, went back to my normal life for a couple of days. But they still wanted me to campaign. So they take me down to Qualcomm. This is like the next weekend. They take me down to Qualcomm Stadium, set me up at the thing, hand me a clipboard, like legitimately hand me a clipboard. All right, go get signatures. We were like 200 feet away, and probably closer than that, to the Team Arnold booth, right? That was there. Because keep in mind, Schwarzenegger was running this blitz campaign all over California. He had a lot of money backing him. He wanted to be governor, and clearly he was going to be governor. So he's got shit everywhere. So we're sitting there, and I'm trying to get signatures. And people are coming over to me, or I'm walking over to people, and they got their Team Arnold fucking, posters and hats and flyers. And I'm like, excuse me, are you guys registered Democrats? And they're like, fuck off. I got told to fuck off so many times that day. I was just all the time, totally told to fuck off, because nobody wanted to talk to a chubby fucking Democrat trying to run for governor right next to a Team Arnold. It was kind of an embarrassment. I'm not going to lie. Like, I had fun with it, but still was kind of an embarrassment. So then they decided they wanted to ramp up the public appearances, right? So they had to hold true to what they said. When I went to these public appearances, they literally sent a limousine to my house. So I got picked up to go down to Hooters in Pacific Beach for Monday Night Football. I'm not a football fan, but they promised me free booze and free wings, and why not? And also Charger girls were going to be there, so I could hobnob with them ladies, right? So I go there, I get in the back of this limousine in my place, and we end up taking off down toward Pacific Beach. We get down there We go in, there's maybe like 20 people there. They're watching the game. No one gives a fuck that I'm there. It's just like at this point, I don't think that Rock 105.3 knew what to do with me because they didn't know what to do. They thought this was a joke, right? And they just wanted, this was like something they didn't properly plan out. And here I am kind of running along with it. Now, thankfully, my handler was really, really, really cool about everything. And he was always like, dude, I'm really sorry. Like, we're just doing this thing, you know? And I'm like, yeah, well, whatever happened to the paid appearances? Because I kept bringing that up. And he kept deflecting. And I said, I'll tell you what, man, I'll tell you what. Here's what I want. I want Kiss Aerosmith tickets. That's all I want, because they were coming to town in a couple of weeks and it was sold out show. And I'm like, that's what I want. I want Kiss Aerosmith tickets. And he's like, I'll see what I can do. Right. So we do a couple more events, right? They tell me, they literally tell me, go out and actually go get signatures on your own. Right. Which I thought was really weird. I'm like, I know this is a joke, but I actually legitimately was taking this seriously for a bit. One of my friends had just come back from basic training in the Army. And him and I drove around to like multiple different locations around San Diego trying to get signatures. Keep in mind that the politics of the gubernatorial election in 2003 in California were fucking very, very, very polarized. In California, even back then, like way more than now, like not as much as now, but still crazy. And so I actually had to devise a bit of a trick in order to get people to sign the signatures. I went up to couples and I would sit there and I would hold my clipboard and kind of look like I had to stick up my ass. And I would go like, excuse me, are you guys registered Republicans? Right. And it's San Diego's, you know, way more liberal than people give it credit for. And they're like, fuck no, we're not registered Republicans. And I'm like, oh, great. So you're registered Democrats. And they said, yeah, fuck yeah, we're registered Democrats. And I'm like, please sign here, you know? And they're like, oh, dude, you got me, bro. And they would fucking sign it. I ended up getting like 60 goddamn signatures, I think. It wasn't much. But the thing is, it's like, I didn't have any money. Every time they said my name on the air, they would always get it wrong. So it's Jarbo, but they would go Jarvo. And it's like, well, like it got to the point of where my dad from Washington had to contact them to go, you're misspelling my son's name on the website. So can you please fix it? Like my dad had my back on that one, which I thought was pretty cool. So you get that whole thing. Then it comes time for like election night, right? Now listen, I'm not going to win, but these guys wanted to make sure that like me being a good sport about it, everything else, they wanted to make sure I had a good time. So they send a limo to pick me up and they take me and my friend to a strip club, right? So they held my election party at a strip club in the VIP section and they paid for a fair amount of lap dances. So I'm sitting there just getting lap dances for free, sent there with the limousine. I'm drinking beer. It was a good time, right? Good old time. People like actually went to the strip club that had heard me talk on the radio because right before, and I did forget one thing. So right before election, they wanted to set up an actual debate, right? They wanted to do a debate. This was the craziest thing. Larry Flynt was coming to town to open up the Hustler Club downtown San Diego, and they had booked him to come over to me and to have a debate with me on the air, right? Me versus Larry Flynt. And I'm like, fuck, man, like, what am I gonna say to Larry Flynt? Right? Like, how am I gonna, like, this is Larry Flynt. What am I gonna do? Like, the dude's an angry, bitter man in a wheelchair who's been around porn his entire adult life. Like, I got nothing on this guy. You know, like I kind of look like Kevin Smith. That's not going to fly with Larry Flynt. And so Larry Flynt gets stuck in traffic the day that we're supposed to debate. So I'm in the studio. I'm literally in the studio, Clear Channel, down in off of Arrow Drive in San Diego. I'm talking to Missy, right? We're having a good old time. We're just BSing. He can't make it. So they send in their Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonator, this homie named Clint, to debate me. Now, this guy is a comedian. This guy does this shit for a living with these radio stations. I got nothing on this guy, right? I got nothing on this guy because I'm 21. I'm nervous. I'm with people I don't know. And I'm trying to be funny against a guy who does this for a living. I had one joke though. Now, when they asked me how I was going to implement my 3 laws, they got to the part about the bigger breasts, right? Like how would you make bigger breasts a law in California? And my stepdad told me a zinger before walking out the door, and he says, just say, I'll make it a $10 copay on your HMO. Right? Again, 21. I don't really even know what the fuck that means. I do now, but not so much then. So I say, I'm on the radio and I'm all like, they go, oh, how would you make the law? How would you make bigger boobs a thing? And I just said, honestly, guys, I I would just make it a $10 copay on your HMO, right? And I nailed it. I nailed the delivery of it. And they're like, oh, that's great. You know, I had one good zinger. And then Clinton came in and just steamrolled me for the rest of the debate. The debate lasted like 5 minutes. Like, this was just a stunt. Like I said, these guys didn't really know what they were doing. But anyway, back over to the strip club. So we're at the strip club. And, you know, the election results are coming in. It declares Arnold Schwarzenegger will be governor of California, as if anyone expected any, you know, no one expected anything different from that. It was going to be Schwarzenegger. But the thing was, they wanted to let me know that they were very appreciative of me being as easygoing as I was. So they gave me this backpack. Inside the backpack was, and I wish I still had this, was a gray PlayStation windbreaker, right? I thought it was really cool. I really liked that thing. I don't know where it's at anymore, but I really liked it. There was like 25 CDs in there, you know, just like promotional items and shit. But then they gave me an envelope, and in the envelope were a whole bunch of coupons for like free food from different restaurants. But it had tickets to Queens of the Stone Age in a couple weeks. Also pit tickets to Red Hot Chili Peppers and tickets to fucking Kiss and Aerosmith. And the Red Hot Chili Peppers concert and Kiss and Aerosmith were 2 days apart from each other in the same week, which that was fucking amazing. Like, all I wanted to go see was Kiss. I just wanted to go see Kiss. I'm a huge Kiss fan. And so that's what I wanted. So I went through all of that, right? And then keep in mind, at this time too, which you guys have to understand why they were like really anxious for this thing to end, was because of the controversy surrounding the gubernatorial election at the time. There was, in fact, a big push from the state legislative to like basically to hold off on voting for governor until March of 2004. This was October, I think like October 10th. So they wanted to hold it for like another 5 months, which means that Rock 105.3 at that time, because of their obligations, would have to basically campaign me for an additional 5 months. And they did not want to do it because this was meant to be a one-off joke. And then they started taking it seriously. I think maybe because I was like willing to take it seriously. So even though there was no way in hell I was going to win, and most people always told me, oh, you would just fuck the state up anyway. I'm actually relatively fiscally conservative. I think I would do a lot to benefit the state. But there was one small part of me, I will admit, one small part of me that was like, what if, you know, like, cause I watch a lot of movies. I'm a fan of like those kind of stories, you know, like Rookie of the Year type, really over the top type shit, Blank Check, that kind of thing. Movies from my childhood. And part of me wondered, right? Part of me wondered, what would happen if I won, right? What would happen if I won? And I kind of wondered, and I think that maybe that's why I was going out and doing more things. Like one of the events we went to. This is interesting too. And I'll end it on this. I should have chimed this in. I totally forgot about this. This was September. So they were doing this movie premiere of The Rundown, starring The Rock, his first feature length film, right? And they were doing this big thing, and they had also tied it into an anti-smoking thing. And so they were telling people, oh, come on down and like give us your packs of cigarettes and we'll give you tickets to go see the movie. Right. And all they really wanted was like the pack of cigarettes with just like one left in it. You could take out the rest of them, put them in your pocket, you know, or transfer them to another pack or whatever, and then just give them that. And you get 2 tickets to see this movie. It was a really dumb promotion, but people were fucking buying it, and they're throwing in like full packs of cigarettes. So me and like 3 of the fucking people that are there, that are, you know, like the crew, the interns setting everything up, and then me being like the idiot with the clipboard. When the thing got over, right before the movie started, we looked at all the cigarettes people had given us, and I'm like, any of you guys here smoke? And they're all like, no. And I'm like, I do. And the handler's like, yeah, go ahead and take what you want. Just leave the packs. So I just pulled out a couple packs and I refilled, like, I think I probably took 4 or 5 packs of cigarettes total, and then just left a few empty packs in there. And they're like, yeah, that looks good to us. And so I went into the movie with like this smorgasbord of fucking tobacco, you know, for my time, and watched the movie and enjoyed it and everything else. So yeah, that was a fun thing. The governor story for me is awesome because it's like this moment in time where I kind of became this instant celebrity, and it lasted a while longer. You know, I said earlier, I was friends with people who ran strip clubs. They would invite me down to judge like Miss Spring Break competitions. Right. And because I did this and I got to know everybody really well, I never had to pay to get into any strip club in San Diego practically ever again, because I would just call up my homie and be like, yo, Mike, I want to go to this club. And he's like, all right, let me call it in. Right? Like, that's how it is. I would just go to the club and I got in for free. So that was one of the perks that came along with it. You, yeah, that was how I'd spend my nights off of work. I'd like, yeah, I'm going to go to the strip club, and not even to go see the naked ladies, just to hang out. I mean, that was definitely a plus. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say I didn't look. I'm just saying that wasn't the key intent. But to me, running for governor is just this weird moment of my life that it actually legitimately happened, and it happened like I told you. And it's so cool that, like, an idiot like me got the opportunity to do something like that. And it was only to start for I think my life, right? The start of stories like this, where it's just like my luck acting a certain way. But I'm super thankful for everyone who was like, for Marcus, for who had my back the whole time, to the people there who like really tried to make it work, even though they were kind of thrust into it and didn't really know what to do. They still tried to make it work. And that to me is fantastic. Anyway, that was my story time of me running for governor of California, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want to know more stories about my life that aren't necessarily the most mundane things ever, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you guys like this kind of stuff, and I'll keep doing them, because I like talking, and I like telling you guys about me, about the stuff I'm into. So I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day. Peace out.